real truth, and I can explain why why we didn't have our what do you call it? I can explain why I missed out, and it was basically I finished work a little early, and I went to go have a little bit of a lie down, and I had no idea that I had fallen asleep until I woke up at like 2:30 in the morning, saw your missed calls and your missed messages, and I was like, bro, I cannot believe I fell asleep, and that was it. I literally fell asleep like, yeah, my
When the
bad.
body needs it, man.
Sorry
The
about
body
that.
needs it, eh? You can't push these things.
Oh man, I think that's one of the things, eh? Like just like I make time. I make time to do training throughout the day, a little bit of movement throughout the day while I'm working. I think it's one of the blessings of being able to work and do stuff from home. But man, just sometimes if you're so occupied and focused on what you're doing, like just like that mental tiredness. So I think one of the things I really want to focus on, I've given myself a goal. I caught up with my brother-in-law this evening for my little nephew's first birthday, and we were just talking about. He was talking about how he's looking at doing because he does a lot of marathons and stuff, and he wants to do Iron Moldy or the Iron Man, but it's just like the price is ridiculous just to enter or participate, you know?
Yeah.
And so I kind of got to talking, I was thinking like, bro, actually, that's such a good idea. I think I want to start, I just said to him, like, maybe in November next year, I think I'll start training for a marathon. Did I ever tell you that I ran a
No.
Did I ever tell you the time that I ran a half marathon?
No. Did you do any training for it, or did you just go all in on the day?
I did zero training for it, and the funny story is it was actually I was out drinking, getting hammered, and so like I was with a bunch of friends, and there are a couple of really cute girls there, and then one of my friends who runs the bar was like, "Oh my, we're gonna run the Auckland Marathon. You want to come join us?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll come run the marathon with you, man. Yeah, sure, not a problem, not a problem." And then I kind of completely forgot about it. And I think probably maybe about a week or two before the marathon, before the registration, I got a message from a mate. She says, "Hey, are you still running? You said you were running, right? You still running?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." But the thing is, I didn't even have any shoes. I hadn't run in like years. I didn't even have any shoes. I literally rang up I literally had to ring up my brother-in-law, bless his heart, and see if he had a spare pair of shoes. So he lent me an extra pair of shoes that he had that I had never broken in, that I'd never worn before.
Yeah.
And yeah, I managed to, I got on the Devonport ferry with my friends, woke up extra early, and started running with a crowd, and literally both my calves and my feet cramped up 300 meters into it, like about 100, 300 meters into it. I got cramps, and I was like, fuck! I have 20.5 kilometers left.
First pain's the worst. Keep going. Nah.
Yeah, I did. I finished it. But
Congrats, man.
I think there was a lesson there. The lesson there was, I don't know what the lesson was, but
That's a beast of a run too. That'd probably take me like 4 hours, 3-4 hours.
Yeah. It was close to it, bro. It was close to it, and I was literally limping the rest of the way. But aside from that, I learned a lot about myself. And I think what I learned the most was how much I fucking hate running.
And so
I hate it.
every day, and the off chance that somebody randomly while he's drinking with them says, "Do you want to run a marathon?" And he's like, "Yes, I do." I've waited all my life.
Yeah, sure, why not? YOLO.
Yeah,
FOMO.
I remember one time, just on a whim, I ran, I think it's the equivalent of a quarter. It was about 13K, essentially from my
Wow.
parents' house on Lawrence Crescent, just in Marirua,
Mm,
to the, well, basically, we lived at the bottom of Red Hill.
mm.
And so I thought, oh, yeah, just drop me off. I had some chucks on and I ran along the bitumen road. And you know how the country roads, like the farm roads, it's like
Yeah,
flat
yeah,
in the middle, and then either
yeah.
side it like tips over like that. So one foot is on the flat and the other foot is at the angle the whole
Oh
way
my,
through, bro. So
your poor ankles.
oh yeah, my legs felt like cement, and then my feet just felt so sore, like I was limping on them like the day after. And I was
Mm.
thinking, yeah, I probably should have run before, but definitely it was not a half marathon. So hats off to you, my friend.
Well, I will say that since then I have avoided running um, where possible. But in saying that, I kind of think, I kind of want to do something different. I want to do something different. I want to do something transformative. So yeah, I'll, I think if I could just start off with just a couple of Ks a day
Yep.
and just slowly build up. And there's, yeah, I think when I was at my fittest, I used to run a lot, not out of the like of it, but because I didn't have like a PlayStation at the time, and I'd get like really fucking bored. What can I do? I know. I'll just run and go for a swim. That was it. But now I have a PlayStation and social media, and it's like, yeah. No, I think it'll be good. I think it'll be a good thing for me to give myself that kind of goal
Yeah.
where, yeah, run a marathon, get myself into fighting shape. So when I do eventually go back to training, I won't get a hiding as bad.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really cool, man. And shocking the body as well as breaking the pattern. That's how
Mm.
you make most of the greatest improvements. Like we're always taught in training, when you flip it up, so that you don't get used to the training, or your
Yeah.
muscles don't get used to it, or your body doesn't get used to or adapt. And so, yeah, it's just shocking that system. So, and I think it clears the mind, shakes the cobwebs out of the
No,
brain.
it does. It does. I love doing like my kettlebells and things. I love doing my kettlebells, and I always feel reluctant to run because thing is my feet hurt before I'm actually tired.
Mm.
So I'll spend more time just doing cardio with either skipping or just hitting the heavy bag. But um, I I think I feel for myself personally. It's just one of those things I need to kind of get over and just conquer. It's like just one of those little personal things. I really want to get good at running and swimming, running and swimming. Um, yeah, I think starting from tomorrow until next year, it'll be running, swimming, and kettlebells.
That's really
So
awesome.
yeah, yeah. So I just have to. So the thing for me now is that I'll just have to keep myself accountable every day,
Mm.
and just make sure, hey, I committed to run today, run a couple of Ks, do it in the morning, do it in the evening, and I'll just do that. And I'll treat myself by eating heaps in between.
Yeah, I think that's wicked, man. And look, if you need an accountability partner, I'm always game to get more, so that they can all see how I start off strong and I finish off weak. But at least I'll be there to hear you and your progress, and then I can live vicariously.
Yes, yes, yes.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's mean, man. I've had kind of ups and downs with tackling, or just finding the motivation and then establishing the consistency, and then yeah, really, I guess, celebrating those wins this year. It was good. Like we had like a family kind of challenge for Toys Family here, so everyone put
Oh, nice.
like $50 for a pot, and then
Hmm.
you go as hard as you can. and it worked out pretty well. Her brother and his wife ended up winning the contest because like he lost about, I think it was like 22 kgs in 3 weeks, which is pretty good. It's consistent.
Wow.
It's not like I know of a couple of people that have lost like 20 kgs in a month, and which is pretty extreme. But it was good. It was a good experience as well. So as a result, like that just helped me to kind of get started, and then ended up losing about 14 kgs. And then it's that it's that old thing, right? That when you let complacency set in, you just kind of fall back into your old patterns, and then
no, dude, that's it. And it's so hard to get back into that routine again. And I think that's always going to be the eternal struggle.
Oh yeah.
And so that's one thing I really want to improve for myself is, I think for me, I just need to find the joy and make it play.
Yeah.
If it's not play, I'm not going to want to do it. You know, I think it was one of the things that I used to really love about training when I used to work in the city, and city kickboxing was just down the road. And so I spent, like for me, going to training after work for a couple of hours, it didn't feel like work, even though they literally pushed you. It always felt like play, you know. And I think that's one of the things. I think that's the shift. I think that's the shift that's really kind of helped me. I mean, I've made some strength gains over the last few months.
Do tell. Do tell.
Oh yeah, I think I've just been just doing like stuff with my kettlebells, like really simple complexes. Getting back into, I mean, because I'm always drilling what I can from the stuff that I remembered when I used to train at city kickboxing with, kickboxing, striking, and stuff. And to be honest, it's just like the best feeling, kicking or punching the shit out of a heavy bag. It actually is. It's so great.
That's awesome.
You know. And so I think it's like, I've been pushing myself to a point where I'm like, okay, I feel you always kind of keep pushing yourself little by little. So I kind of feel that now I just need to ramp it up a bit more. I feel I'm just kind of at that stage where I'm like, I think I should take it a little more seriously. So yeah, just got to run more. Yeah, I feel I need to run more. I can walk for ages, but I need to walk on my gait and my stride. I can't just be walking around like a flipping silverback. I want to be able to run long distance, not just sprint intensely for short bursts.
Well, some people genetically, mate, they're just blessed to be silverbacks. So what are you going to do? It's your cross to bear,
It is my cross. But I want to make it
walk by you and they're like, geez, look at the calves on the calves of that guy.
Wow, why is he wearing skinny jeans? They're not skinny jeans, they're normal jeans. They're normal jeans.
Straight loose ones.
No, I know. But I think that, I think all that other stuff aside, I think it'll just deep down inside, I think it actually would be fun. It would be fun. I have some crazy ideas with my brother-in-law with things that I think would be like absolutely nuts, but really cool to pull off. So I figure, I'm not getting any younger, so I should start kind of training and working towards it.
I think that's cool, man. Yeah. And the whole gaming concept is really important to me as well. I do prefer to also, I've noticed that like a personal trait of mine is that I work better when I'm perceived as the underdog, or when things are like I'm up against the wall. That is what it is, right? I mean, there's so many things that would be better if I was one of those people that's just methodical and calculated and just works toward a goal and whatnot. But when I feel like I'm
so jealous of people like that,
it works out well.
I'm so envious of people that methodical. Like I literally have to have Yeah. I think for me, and it literally took me ages to kind of somehow clarify it for myself. Is that I'll only enjoy doing it if it's fun. Or if I can find the fun in it, if I can find the fun and the enjoyment in it, even if it's like physically shitty, if I can find the joy in it, and that's that, whether it's some kind of mental emotional catharsis at the end. Yeah. So I think So I think I'll be that's my experiment for the next 12 months. I'll be chipping away at it one day at a time.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm going to jump on that bandwagon as well. We might as well use this podcast as kind of the accountability measure.
Yeah, I think it'll be great. I think it'll be great, even if it's just like a little like, oh yeah, I managed to like do it consistently this week.
Yeah,
Blah, blah, blah,
no, I
blah.
agree.
You know?
Yeah, it'll be good, man. And so that's where I want to get to as well. Is yeah, I hate the dreadmill with a passion. I call it the dreadmill because I don't like it. But once I get on the
Yeah.
treadmill and I do like that 17 minutes, that 300 calories in a day,
Mm.
like, it feels good to be. It feels okay to even just be on it and doing it because I know why I'm doing it, and I know that once I step on and I press start, like I've committed. I'm either going to die or I'm going to finish, and I'm obviously not going to die. So yeah, it just ends up being done. But being able to do that, I did notice the gains. It's so funny. Your mind plays on tricks on you where you know logically what works and you've seen even the proof and you can recall the satisfaction of that reward or that joy in celebrating that win. But old patterns kind of creep in and it's like, oh, you could do a cardio, but maybe you just say that it counts as cardio if you went surfing. And it's like, oh, no, it doesn't. Or
Hey, no, surfing is something counts as cardio, bro.
oh, for some people.
I couldn't think of any better cardio.
I think it helps if you're actually moving a lot, but when you're just sitting and waiting for the wave to come, and it's like you get about 5 waves in an hour, that's where you kind of have to have a moment with yourself. And say, all right.
So you're not like consistent. You're not constantly swimming laps.
No, unfortunately not. I mean, the pump. If that was a pumping session, then yeah, and you would definitely be in for less than an hour because you would just get throttled. You get barreled and it'll be wicked. But yeah, it's those kind of things where you just get that you allow that complacency to creep in. So yeah, I'd like to be able to do that. So I've started back on just getting that awkward cardio through the door. But I do also know that I need to get back into the powerlifting program. So that was working out really well for me as well. And now that I've kind of got over some injuries, like I fell off my skateboard on the wrist. And so that was, I think it was like a minor, like a hairline fracture, to be honest with you, because for about 5 months, it just didn't come right. And I was thinking, what's going on?
It's good that you took the break, man. Good that you took that break because, bro, you just can't afford to ignore those things.
Oh, look, I couldn't do anything if I tried as well anyway. Like I couldn't even hold the bar properly and I just knew, oh, well, that's that. But now it's a little bit better. So quite keen to get back into that, because it's just fun, man. Like I love Shaker. The programming is just awesome. If you can deal with the high volume, then you get so many gains. Like it's just ridiculous. Like after 2 months, I see the gains and I'm always tracking all the weight and all the rest of that. It's like real intense, but it's very rewarding. And like you said, it's a game. Like I play the game in my mind. I'm just like, got to get through it. I don't care if it's going to be an hour weight training session or 3 hours. I'm going to get through it. I'm going to be satisfied. And just seeing that kind of one day at a time add up to a month, 3 months, 6 months. And then you look at them in the mirror or you look at your PBs and you're like, wow, that's awesome. So going for that.
Because I think because at the moment I'm just working with my because I have a kettlebell set, so I have two 24s, two 32s, and two 40 kg kettlebells. So I think the way I've been kind of working at them is that
you curling the
I don't want to get to the
kettlebells one at a time.
No, I don't curl. I do like the full snatches, squats.
Oh my gosh.
Those ones. which I can. But I think for me, it's more of like a physical movement thing. Like I'm not. Oh shucks, how do I explain it? Like I think a really good gauge for me is if I can, because with the 20s, with the 224s, I can do quite a lot of stuff for reps, including um, cleans and snatches, single and both. But I want to get to the point where if I can get to the point where I can do that consistently with the 240s, I think that would be a really good gauge of strength. So it's kind of more like something that I'm kind of building up to.
That's awesome.
But it's also like because there's like a whole stamina dimension as well. So, I don't really bench. I just have I'm just doing push-ups, getting back into pull-ups and everything. So just really kind of basic stuff. But I think just a different kind of strength dynamic for myself. I think the thing I really like about kettlebells for me is that it does involve just a lot of, like full body coordination to move the weight. But I'm also trying to get strong and mobile enough so I can eventually do like nice pistol squats.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, like one of the stuff, bro. I'm so far from it at the moment, but I've just been like doing like I do like my body air squats, and then I do like those ones where you wear your socks, and so when you go to squat down, one leg slides up. those kind of ice skating ones, and they're actual killers, bro. So I've been like doing the knees over toe guy, knees over toes. That dude has some awesome workouts. So like just taking like stuff out of his book, because in my mind I want to be strong, but I don't want to be like a huge bulky kind of dude.
Yeah.
I still want to have like that explosive athleticism, but I also want to have like that fitness and strength.
That's cool, man. Like with the
like a ninja. I want to be a ninja. Basically, I want to be a ninja. So if I get in a rumble, I'll be fine.
Yeah, okay.
And I'll be able to like yeah. I'll be able to like sprint off super fast and bound and jump over cars and shit.
Oh man. You'll be doing parkour like as you run away from them, eh? It'll be primo.
I know. Except when I jump on cars, the cars will break.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I can picture you doing pistol squats, but for me, it's probably when I think of you, they seem more like they would be Gatling gun squats, given how big your thighs and calves are, man.
No, dude, that was the thing. When I was in my, I actually, I could do pistol squats in my early 20s, but that was when my legs were significantly smaller than what they are now, and my hip mobility was significantly different. But yeah, so now it's just getting. I think a lot of it too is probably trimming up. I mean, I'm pretty heavy at the moment. Like I'm about 140, 145.
You said 135?
45.
145? What are you gonna do with all that muscle, man? It's gonna be hard to get rid of it.
No, I think the more that I do cardio stuff, like I do feel the strength will be there. I just think I think just a lot of the extra insulation will leave over time. Because I think the thing I really want to get back to is just that mobility and movement.
That's cool.
So
that saying from Jim Rohn, the business philosopher, where he said, set a goal for the man it requires you to become in order to achieve it. And so that's why your marathon one makes so much sense. You set the goal because of the man it requires you to become in order to achieve the goal. And then the real goal is actually that journey rather than the end result. It's as much the end result, don't get me wrong, but it's that journey. So I think it's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna chip away with it, man, and just happy to share that journey with you and anybody else who wants to come along with Laser and Unicorn.
Laser and Unicorns episode, whatever number this is.
Episode 2.
Episode 2 for a stitch. Every episode's
Man, I haven't had a stitch in ages. Oh, stitches.
what's going on right now. What is where are things at with you? So last week we talked about a bunch of a few movies and series that were coming out as well. I received some pretty awesome text messages from you this week regarding a certain live action adaptation. Did you end up watching more than the first episode of Cowboy Bebop?
Okay, technically, the first 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Bro, and honestly, like, you know, anybody watching, I don't want to come across like a snob or a wanker, but like, fuck, dude. Honestly, it was painful. It was actually painful. It was painful. Like comparing it to how amazing the action in the anime was. I mean, what the hell is this? What the hell is that? What the hell is that? What? I'm just. I mean, I know people are going to say, "Oh, like, can you do better?" But I'm saying, no, it's not the point. You literally had a template, but you didn't even bother to listen. It was literally like, I don't know if I think it was in my text to you. It was literally like they didn't. It was like somebody made the show based on something that they read on Wikipedia about Cowboy Bebop, but the person that wrote the article on Wikipedia was an asshole. Like, honestly, it was just, yeah, I was like, bro.
Can we just go back to that fighting scene though? By the looks of it, it seems that you're saying that actor in those fighting scenes was worse off in Cowboy Bebop in terms of his martial arts than he was when he was on Star Trek.
No, in Star Trek, he was pretty awesome in Star Trek. But I think the thing is, I want to preface this is that it's not the actors. I don't blame the actors or anybody working on it. Who I do blame are the director and whoever
wrote the script.
Yeah, just some of those direction choices, like because one of the great things, because Spike fights Jeet Kune Do. He does like close quarter, super fast, super powerful, dance, rhythmic, flipping fighting. Like, it's impactful. Like, think of Bruce Lee, or even like the old school Jackie Chan fights. None of that stuff that we saw, none of what we saw was like that at all. It wasn't even an homage. I mean, I was just thinking, dude, none of this makes sense. I couldn't even understand the stuff. And and even the way they told their jokes, I was like, the tone is completely off. The tone is off. A lot of the characters' backstories were off. So I just feel like, here's the thing. I'm so happy that we have that our film industry here has these opportunities to film these types of shows. But who the hell are these producers, all these directors? Like, did you even have any kind of care for the actual source material? Because to me, it didn't feel like that at all.
It would be interesting to see who was involved in actually producing and writing those.
I did some research on some of the directors, and some of the credits to their names were like there are a lot of shows and movies that were probably straight to DVD movies.
No.
Vampire Diaries, episodes of Vampire Diaries.
Oh. And so,
but even then,
just like a box of writers that are sitting at Netflix that just get thrown a title and told.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if that's the case. It wouldn't surprise me if it's basically, let's see what we can make at the lowest cost to get the most eyeballs or the most returns. And I think they were really kind of banking on the fact that people actually love Cowboy Bebop. And I mean, one of my mates, he's been trying to give me hope leading up to Cowboy Bebop, but I was like, bro, I love you, man, but stop trying to give me hope because I don't want to get let down. And they wrecked my favorite character too. I cannot believe they did this, like Ed. So, Radical Edward. Radical Edward, when she makes her, so they don't include her in any of the promo stuff, and it just feels like when they finally introduce her, they've just completely. I feel, I feel for that, I feel for the actress who's playing Radical Edward, because I don't think I don't think they got the tone right, or they got the right person. It's in my mind, it just wasn't Ed, and like Ed for me is like one of the most important characters for Cowboy Bebop. Ed and Ainz, and I think they might not necessarily have like the most prominence in the story, but I think just their presence as that chaotic innocent factor I thought was one of the things that made Bebop really special, because you've got three adults that are dealing with their trauma with very shady pasts, but then you've got this kid and this data dog who's probably smarter than all of them. The kind of, it's like this chaotic gel of the whole crew. So I really liked Ed's presence in that show, because I think it's one of the things that really kind of set it apart from a lot of shows at the time.
It's pretty sad when you start looking through a lot of the like producer credits or writer credits as well, I guess, and you look at some of the production or the projects that they worked on comparative to Your Baby. I guess it's also kind of hard to be able to tell or discern, hey, these people that have worked on these series. So for instance, like for example, the producer at Netflix, right? So he worked as an agent as well. And he was the agent that discovered Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson while he was in WWE, right? So he's also worked on the likes of, say, Prison Break, or I think the most recent one was Snowpiercer. So it's really fascinating to see how sometimes it makes you wonder whether, it's all just a mix of, hey, I'm going from job to job to job, it's paycheck, which we all have to do. Or whether, and then also when you have these instances of, say, like Snowpiercer, which had elements of fascination that were fascinating, it still doesn't do like nearly as well as just the original. And I guess that's the plight of all the spin-offs, is never as good as the originals. But then it always makes you wonder how, okay, cool, if they've had some kind of measure of success in this one project, is that why they were kind of greenlit to be the producer or the writer in My Baby, which is, say, in this case, Cowboy Bebop, or it might be any number of other projects there. And then you're just confused as well, because then you've got great new material that comes out that really kind of just craps on a lot of stuff that has huge budgets and comes out from Netflix or Amazon Prime, and you're just like, gosh, what's going on here?
Dude, that's it. Like it's I mean, I know it's a machine, and they need to make bank and pay their mortgages and whatnot. But I contend that they would make so much more money if they focused on good storytelling.
Agreed.
Like, they would make way more money. They would always make bank if they had the right, if they took the time to find just the right people that had, that understood some of this stuff. I don't know. I'm aware of how I sound, but it's just like, dude, Cowboy Bebop is an amazing story, man. Like, there's so many incredible stories.
Were there any rumors of the project not going well as it was in production? I mean, we had those like small updates of when they would show the costume.
Oh yeah, yeah, there would have been, and I think that showed, but I think a lot of that too is probably just a different kind of vision. I don't know if there was like a consistent vision, in the way that they approached it. Because I mean, if you take examples like Dune, for example, but then if you look at something like what is it, Into the Spider-Verse,
yeah,
that incredible masterpiece that is Into the Spider-Verse, which was literally written and created and produced by people that understood, but not just understood, but had a different, sometimes you see something and you think, man, yeah, I pretty much know everything there is about
Yeah.
particular character, but then somebody takes it into another level of understanding where they breathe a whole lot of life, and you start seeing them as actual people, and so, if you use Into the Spider Verse as an example of what can be achieved when you find the right kind of people, like, dude, that the storytelling in that is incredible. The visuals. I mean, people always talk about, oh well, the graphics are great, but I think all of that has to be anchored by solid storytelling.
Yeah.
So Into the Spider-Verse is incredible. And Arcane, League of Legends, Arcane. Holy shit, is that good? Oh my God.
Thank you.
Wow.
My girls lost their minds. They were like, wow, this is really good. And
I know.
you'd think that, you could go through the entire, and I'm happy to say I've still got the last 2 episodes to watch. I'm almost like, I don't want this journey to end. But you could almost say that you could have gone through the entire series and not have some of those critical fight scenes that were in there, and you would still come out with a series that I would hazard to say, is just me, would still be better than Castlevania, just because of all the other elements, the development of the characters, the use of 3D graphics. If you noted, there was 2D animation in there as well, I believe. And it shouldn't really surprise us, right? My understanding is, like, it reminded me of what we're used to seeing with Into the Spider-Verse in terms of the treatment and how they try and merge different mediums. I mean, even some of the opening sequences, right? I think was it episode 7 when you had there was a sequence there, and then just that traditional animation style was used, and it had Echo featured in there with Powder, and it's just like,
that was an incredible fight. That was so incredibly done. Like, you'd have like the spirit animals behind them, like, whether it was the crow for Powder, and like just how they like. This is what I mean about the storytelling, just the visual storytelling without having to go into any kind of exposition. They're playing a game that they played as kids. They've always been competitive. Echo knows Powder's moves. Powder knows Echo's moves. But the thing is, even though they're treating it like a game, the stakes are super high because lives are on the line. And it's just like this incredible flipping dialogue and conversation which is happening. And I'm watching it and I'm thinking, oh my fucking God. Like, I mean, you and I have always been like creative, artistic types, but when you just kind of see somebody pull off something like that incredibly well, you can't help but just think, holy shit! Like, this is the kind of stuff that
like,
like those kind of storytelling things. But this is one of the things about Arcane, is that there were so many emotional moments that I thought, okay, they could potentially cake it in this part. But they never caked it. Like, these characters felt like real people. They weren't, you had bad guys, but you could understand why they were bad, why they were doing shitty things they were doing.
And despisable good guys.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you could understand their motives. And like that, I think that is something really important to have. You can still be, sometimes it's no longer about having an antagonist or a protagonist, but somebody who does horrible things. But if you understand why, like, I get it. I don't like it, but I get it.
Yeah.
Because, bro, the next the final 2 episodes are French kiss, dude. So flipping good. But yeah, Echo and Powder's fight. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was going to ask your thoughts on that, because I thought that was flipping beautiful.
It's amazing. And it's just one fight out of so many incredible.
Yeah.
It's just,
yeah,
and like the soft touches, and then time spent on character development, and like this is very different, right? Because you start with them young and then you see them when they're old. You don't really have that kind of flashback process, the build out of the backstory, which is traditional in anime, right? But it's just really special to be able to build that rapport and then connection with the
Yeah.
characters. And so you and I, we would kick it in a group where we would talk about all these really cool scenarios. And there's so many people that can talk about these really cool scenarios. But what it does highlight, what this is an example of, as is Into the Spider-Verse, as is all of the Russo productions for the Marvel Universe, is just how critical it is that once you're a fan and once you can come up intellectually with something that's really engaging, it's also whatever skills on top of that are required to really deliver on the final product. And that's where we see people, they either deliver on like 3 out of the 10 things or 5 of the 10 things, but it's really rare to get like an Into the Spider-Verse, an Arcane, Winter Soldier. And so that's what I think is really special. It'd be great if we did that, because then we could just have this wealth. I do wonder though, if we did get more consistency in terms of that quality output, would we then take it for granted?
No, I think beautiful stories, well-crafted stories that resonate with people will always have the value. I mean, it's just, even if you look at, I think everybody takes something different away from the story, and so I don't think it's. I mean, it's a very. I guess if you're looking at through like a capitalist lens, that you want to save the best to create some kind of scarcity around a product so you can sell it for at greater value. But I think when it comes to stuff like this, like good storytelling, I don't think it'll ever lose its value, no matter how popular or whatever it is.
Yeah, I guess one other analogy or comparison would be how if you look at basically the catalog of Marvel movies that were in phase like 1, 2, and 3, you would be able to classify, and if there was a phase 4, maybe we're in phase 4 right now, but if you were able to kind of sort them or categorize them as the headline, like top end high quality movies versus the ones that are basically establishing movies for the next ones, or the ones that are kind of like they're adding greater context or elements, but they're in no way competing, right? Then maybe that's kind of the comparison is, did we need to have a whole bunch of average, ordinary movies or TV series for us to really appreciate Into the Spider-Verse as much as we did? Or would we still appreciate Spider-Verse as much as we did if we had movies or series that were to the level, if not higher, just as high as Into the Spider-Verse?
I mean, logically, you think yes. You think no. Sorry. So I guess logic would dictate that if a whole lot of other movies are under par, of course a movie like Into the Spider-Verse is going to stand out. But I'll be honest, I think even if all the other movies are great, Into the Spider-Verse would still be great.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And it's like, also, oh man, have you ever seen the movie A Song of the Sea?
Is it an anime one?
Yeah, it's an animated film from Ireland. It's based on did you ever watch The Last Unicorn as a kid? You remember The Last Unicorn?
On repeat for some cruel reason, because it was the only VHS that I would have available to me during the day. For some cruel reason, I would torture myself to look at all of those unicorns just sitting in the break and sitting in the circle.
That's why I love surfing, isn't it? You're basically just trying to get the unicorns out from the sea, aren't you? You're trying to, or are you the Red Bull chasing the unicorns into the? Honestly, this is the thing. Like, the only thing I can kind of compare it to, because for me, The Last Unicorn was one of those magical films I watched as a kid, and then I watched it again in like my 20s, and I thought, holy shit, this is actually really fucking beautiful. Like, it actually affected me. And then my sisters were telling me about A Song of the Sea. Um, I don't want to give anything away because it's just absolutely beautiful, bro.
Awesome.
And this is the criminal thing. It was released at the same time as Big Hero 6, and Big Hero 6 took I think won a Grammy or I think won an Emmy or an Oscar for the best animated film. And when I heard that, I was just so flipping mad because, yeah, just in terms of the storytelling and just how beautiful this film is. Yeah, make a note of that. A Song of the Sea.
Oh, look, I'm trying to think of, because I want to ask, does A Song of the Sea stack up as well as, I've forgotten the name of the movie, but it's stop motion animation, and it's basically
Kubo's Kubo and the Two Strings.
Thank you.
Yeah. Song of the Sea is, I think for me, Song of the Sea, because the themes that Song of the Sea deals with, I mean, even though there are magical elements, I think the themes in Song of the Sea hit a lot more closer to home.
Okay.
Than what you see with Kubo's Two Strings, because Kubo's Two Strings is incredible. It's amazing, but I would have to say the Song of the Sea affected me, bro. Like really affected me, and just it's yeah, like I think dealing with themes of grief, loss, and kind of working through that. But I mean, but you also have, I think just there's always, there's this immense sadness that kind of permeates the Song of the Sea. Like the kind of sadness that you feel when you're watching Lord of the Rings, and the whole idea that magic is leaving the world because the elves are leaving. Like this whole idea that there's this loss of that. Yeah. And so watching Song of the Sea
is going to be the same again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sentiment, right?
Yeah, that's it. And so, because I don't want to give away any of the plot because I want to just kind of watch it with pure eyes. But it really does. I think it'll be a really good movie to watch with the girls.
Yeah. Oh, look, it sounds like it. I can guarantee I might be able to get one of them to stay for The Last Unicorn, but I'm not going to be able to. I'm telling you right now, it was even a struggle for me.
I'm telling I said, nah, bro, no, fellas, it's a really good movie.
I've only got a few cards that I can play like that, where I'm just like, no, I'm not listening to you. You can say whatever you want about the cover or what you think about the trailer, what you think about the storyline, but I'm telling you, you're going to watch this one and you're going to love it. I've only got a few of those cards, so I have to hold them in order to build rapport and retain my credibility as a aficionado.
Dude, how beautiful is the opening song of The Last Unicorn?
Oh,
my goodness.
The girls, but look, those classic stories, man, and maybe it's the nostalgia in us too, but those classic stories, I think they're really, really special. And
they are.
Our perspectives in terms of how we look at stuff. And so I remember, like, I grew up so that every Sunday, like, my parents were like, no, you can't watch channels 1, 2, and 3, but you can watch all the videos that we have. And it just so happened that my auntie, like Samoan auntie, who stayed in the flat just below our two-story house, the granny unit, sorry, she would buy all of the show tune movies, the musicals, and a lot of the Disney stuff. So we just cycled through all of them. Oklahoma, Bali High, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. You say it, like we've seen it, right? And I in particular would say, and so I do remember, like, there's references to stuff now that I remember seeing in old school musicals, or even in like the very early Disney stuff that's used today in a bunch of different series. And it's cool when you kind of click with somebody, like, say you and I are talking about The Last Unicorn, and you love it, which is good. I couldn't watch it again but I appreciate it for what it was. It got me through a hard time of needing to find, an hour and a half when I was like 6 years old, 8 years old. But like it's that kind of connection that I think is really awesome, and it feeds the creativity. And like you say, when people get together and they get creative, like say the Russo brothers, or I'm the directors of the Spider-Verse. Is the Spider-Verse, aren't they brothers as well?
I'm not sure. It wouldn't be, it wouldn't surprise me if they are. But I mean, that kind of collaborative team is incredible. But in saying that, I do think that one thing Netflix needs to do better is pay their staff. Bro, it's shocking, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they pay their staff F4. Like,
support staff or just like normal employees?
No, the animators, especially the animators. One of the key animators posted on Twitter just how they literally had they were working at a lowered rate.
Really?
Really?
Because it was Netflix?
Because it was Netflix, and I'm just like, dude, that's not good, man. I mean, they have the cash.
Yeah.
But yeah, because honestly, like if you pay your people well, pay them well, look after the artists, look after your storytellers, and people are gonna keep buying, man. I'm just, why wouldn't they?
Yeah. Shareholders will be having a field day. Netflix, the issue that I have with Netflix now, though, I've had it for quite some time, is they've started getting a lot of back catalog in, or they've started having the B and the C rated stuff, in my opinion, that's coming through to almost fill the difference. And it's not, there's been a decline in quality as a result.
Yeah.
You still get, which kind of goes back to what I said beforehand, right? Like, which is, oh man, if we could just get great stuff, then that'd be awesome. But if we had everything great, would that not make the really great stuff less great? But yeah, in my example now, as I say it with Netflix, of the frustration of having poor or subpar content, only having the blips of greatness, I would definitely still appreciate the blips of greatness if I had just the average greatness.
Well, let's put it this way, because this kind of occurred to me. Not everybody likes fish and chips.
Oh yeah, different strokes for different.
Not everybody likes fish and chips, but if you have amazing fish and chips, amazing fish and chips speaks for itself. But regardless of, but you're always going to have people that won't like amazing fish and chips, even if it's the best fish and chips. But what I propose is that rather than making everybody eat fish and chips, why don't we just have burgers and have like a whole range of like really great things? They don't have to be all the same thing. They just have to be the best of whatever kind of food that is. Because I think those stories will find their audience.
Yeah. Just
make sure the people that are making it aren't doing a half-assed job, or aren't being underfunded, or aren't being under-resourced to do it. So to your point, yeah, I think, because when I think about that, because yeah, actually, I think that's it. Yeah, tell stories, but every story is unique. Make sure we have diverse stories that are told well.
Yeah.
Not because I can't think of anything worse than
that are being continually rehashed every 9 to 15 years. It's just like, okay, this is another. Basically, it's Fast and Furious in space, or it's like in Africa, or in the Amazon with
No, yeah. So that would be the thing. Not, sometimes we just want really well cooked food.
Well, just on the matter of fish and chips, then that's a great segue into where do you think, or if you do think, do you think that Masters of the Universe went off track?
I still have to watch a second season, but I actually liked what they did with the first season, because what I really loved about it, what I loved about it is that for the first time you kind of see the way you start to see Adam and his role as He-Man through everybody else's eyes, through the context of everybody else that lived and dealt with him. And I think it kind of felt like, in a way, when you lose a friend who's passed away, and everybody has a story to tell about them. And so for me, it kind of felt like that. Because I know a lot of people who are like, "Oh man, this is shit!" Like, "Oh my gosh, it's like, why are they having a girl do it?" But I'm like, it would actually kind of make sense because if He-Man's gone, who was the person that was, that was closest to him or would have likely had the most unresolved feelings for him? You know what I mean? And so I thought, for me personally, I thought it was actually, I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was a really brave move to take because they definitely decided to do something completely different. So I think for me, in terms of that kind of storytelling, and seeing it through that kind of lens, I really enjoyed it because it was the first time that I'd even, like, I thought just the whole exploration of the cult, of the law, and even of just the way that people recall their interactions with He-Man or with Adam, like those little moments. Because growing up as a kid, you said, "Yeah, we're fighting all these dudes, we're kicking their ass," but we never see like the little moments where he's like giving some kind of reassurance.
Mm.
The parts that actually make him a real hero aren't necessarily the big feats, but they're like the small moments. The small little human moments. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's really fucking dope. That's actually really, I never kind of,
Which is
even with
about Arcane, right? Because it's got great
hmm?
small moments
Yeah,
that just build upon one another. The because I get what you're saying about how it's a bold move to start building out and sharing, or providing more access to Adam via people's perspectives of him and their recollections.
mm,
I think it could have been much. I think the execution was kind of crap in terms of,
mm,
like, when you say it, Masters of the Universe, there is an inference that, oh, cool, it's not He-Man in the title, certainly, but
mm,
there's still there was so much of a disconnect between, cool, we've got a trailer, we've got a bunch of He-Man on it, we've got a title, so the title must still correlate to basically we're going to get a reasonable quota of He-Man in it.
mm.
I think that the ball was dropped in terms of making sure that everyone was aware, hey, this is going
Yeah,
to be a real discovery of the worlds.
that's a fair call. That's a very fair call.
And then people, at least they understand, what, so this isn't about He-Man. No, this isn't about He-Man. This is about the universe. This is about Eternia. This is about all
Mm,
the characters in it. And so from that perspective, it's almost like, it seems like this would have been better articulated as a prologue
mm,
to a He-Man series, if there
mm,
was to be a He-Man series, or an epilogue if this was to
mm,
be the post of
mm,
He-Man and kind of his storyline.
mm,
Yeah, it just seems like a bit of a shit show, to be honest with you, and which is
mm,
unfortunate. And so I continued in the first part to watch in the hope that I would see He-Man. And
mm.
so when you kind of don't see him and you do see the blips, yeah, I guess everyone was watching it with that lens rather than the lens that
Yeah.
you're giving, which is, oh, cool, let's just get the experience and understand who these characters are and what their value is, how they
Mm.
contribute to the lore and the entire universe and the storyline. Yeah. And then I guess Kevin Smith didn't do a very good job of kind of managing that in the press and his
I think,
interaction.
yeah, that's kind of like that's like I think there's it's like asking for it's like going to, oh man, it's like Lord of Fries. So we have this place called Lord of Fries.
Yep.
And so it's kind of like going to Lord of Fries expecting you can buy a burger, but you don't actually know that it's not specifically stated. I mean, because when you first see Lord of Fries, it's like, oh yeah, fries, I can get burgers like normal stuff. But they do vegan. It's vegan only. It's vegan vegetarian only. So there's no like juicy meaty burger. And I kind of got like really annoyed because I got there and just my own expectation of Lord of Fries, even though they've got it in writing, like, oh yeah, we have, it's all kind of vegan, but it's not, you kind of, yeah, I know what you mean. So the expectation should have just been set right from the beginning.
Yeah.
Because I think if they managed the expectation a lot better, people wouldn't have just been like shocked. Because I completely get where you're coming from, man.
But I
Mm,
think I think from what I've heard as well for part two, it's going to be largely the same as part one. Um,
mm,
and so I guess at least people are aware now that look, part one, logically you can expect part two to be very similar to that. And then take it for what it is. Like, if you like it, awesome. If you don't, that's fine. But yeah, that again, that makes me appreciate something like Arcane so much more. It's just ridiculous. Like when I look at it, I thought Castlevania was pretty good. I really did. I thought Castlevania was really good. I thought the first season was probably like the best one, to be honest with you. Now that I'm thinking about it, but it's only because it had Dracula as a kind of a set the scene kind of thing. But yeah, I find myself as I think more and more about it, and maybe it's because I'm in it right now. I'm really affectionate towards just the entire execution around Arcane. It's just ridiculous.
Dude, it is. And the thing is, there aren't any clear-cut right or wrong decisions. Every decision has a cost. Yeah. There's a cost. There's a cost involved.
There's dilemma everywhere, no matter what.
Yeah. Everything's a dilemma. Like if you're looking for somebody looking for some kind of escapist fantasy, I don't think Arcane's it. I might look it, but it actually isn't.
Yeah.
It's actually not, because there are some really tough, hard decisions that these characters have to make, and I quite like that. I really enjoy that kind of what do you call it? It's not vague. Oh man, all these words are falling out of my head.
Well, it's a nice play on that ambiguity, right? It's classic.
Yeah.
It leaves the door open. You don't quite know what's happening. Am I the only one that's thinking, well, like, is it just the execution of Powder as a character that has me thinking, like, has nobody else ever done schizophrenia for the antagonist? Because like it's just so well done, and the transition was so well done. I mean, I don't think anyone that's watched it, spoiler alert, I don't think anyone that's watched it is going to be able to forget the very first scene where she's crying and snot's running down her nose. It's just so.
No, that was so heartbreaking. That was actually so heartbreaking, because you can understand, like, all she wanted to do was to help. But, there's, the thing is, as hard as Warren is, like, dude, these are traumatized kids. These are kids with clear PTSD. I mean, what would you expect if you've seen your friends and family murdered?
Yep. That's it.
If you're literally living, how would you even begin to be able to cope with that? The responsibility of killing your friends because you wanted to help, like that. Like, how does that's a lot for anybody, especially a child, to kind of carry with them. And so, all comes back to the whole Naruto thing. Naruto went through a whole lot of shit. Naruto would be completely justified if he ended up like Pain.
Yeah.
If he ended up like Pain and say, hey, dude, I completely understand that. Like, you guys treated him like shit, even though that, he was like the Hokage's son, and you, for some reason, just, hey, let's just treat this kid like shit, and don't tell him why everybody hates him.
Just keep it a little secret. We just keep on.
Yeah, just keep it a little secret. Maybe if somebody kind of reached out and say, hey, like, dude,
doing our little sadist shit happened in the last 18 years. Yeah, can't.
I know, exactly, right? Like, who the hell does that? But I mean, yeah. So of course, so it's just
Japanese people.
Yeah, of course, these kids would be
Japanese people.
Huh?
I was just saying, when you said, who does that? Who does that to a kid? I was like, yeah, anyway.
I know, but again, if you kind of think about it, it's kind of like, sadly, a lot of people do that to their kids.
Yeah.
A lot of people do that to their kids, and it's kind of sad, because I see Powder, and I really feel for her. Like, if it's a condition that's blown out of a whole lot of self-loathing, that's become a condition. So, how people deal with trauma and grief is really different. And so I think for me, I kind of, I thought it was like, wow, I thought it was really well done. Obviously, they'll probably have things that are dramatized, but I think the key core with what she struggles with, there's abandonment issues. And then you've got someone like Silko who comes in to fill that role that Vander left when he died the way that he died, like a badass. And I mean, just the whole, and on a whole other note, they wouldn't even have that situation if the people living on the top world looked after the people in the underworld.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like why? There's a whole lot of that is caused by just people being greedy, sharing.
Yep.
Which
was the impetus of the first riot, right?
And that's it. I mean, I contend that somebody who people who are generally well fed, have enough, don't have to worry about their kids starving, and have a safe place to stay, are less likely to rob from you than someone who feels they have nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always going to be, there'll always be elements of criminality regardless, but I think you're less likely to have, but I think people are less likely to turn to that if their basic needs are taken care of. And if you're living in a place that has fucking flying machines and shit, people walking around in gold, I mean, just to make sure that,
Teleportation devices, I think you can spare a loaf of bread, buddy. Just
yeah, exactly. Or at least make sure nobody has to go flipping hungry, or at least they can go to school and, they don't have to, they don't have to be destitute. I think that's the thing, So yeah, so much of that stuff could have been avoided if people were like, what's the point of having a future if not everybody, gets a seat at the table?
I'm looking forward to watching the last 2 episodes. So once I've done that, it'd be good to kind of chat about the conclusion of Arcane, in our next episode. Is there anything else that you'd like for us to kind of tackle in the next episode too?
For
just kind of like ideas, topics, that kind of stuff.
I don't know. I think we could just, after we post it, we'll just probably just leave it out to the. We can either open it up to anybody, to our 2 or 3 followers.
Yeah, we can open up to mums. Just see what mums want us to talk about next. That'd be cool.
Yep. We can see what the bots. We can see what the bots. We see what the bots from. Sorry, I was going to say something really bad, but no, yeah.
Right.
I was going to say, yeah. We can see what the MILFs living in my area think. Because they've been the only bots that are following us. Yeah.
Just for everyone's clarity, that's Lai, and his area.
Yeah, that's me. That's me. It's my joke. It's a comment. Yeah, so apparently there are these yeah. Yeah, but no. I think probably for our next one we'll just go with the flow. I think there's so much stuff. Oh God. Okay, I need to start watching One Piece. Have you watched One Piece?
Yes. Why am I even talking to you about this? Why have you not watched One Piece?
No, because it's like reading War and Peace. So I've okay. My commitment is that I have to start watching One Piece properly. So my goal is to at least get through a big chunk of it, because my little brother started on it, then my sisters started on it, and now I have my whole family hounding me. Hey, like, have you watched One Piece? Have you read One Piece? And I'm like, why? It's like the thing I hate is that everyone is talking about something that I can't join in because I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, okay. Have you?
It's like that because I get distracted with other stuff, and I'm like, there's just not enough hours in the day.
Yeah, I think you need less sleep, man. I think just sleep less. Maybe you can watch 2 shows at the same time from now on. That might help.
I've tried that. But, yeah.
I was being. Here's another one for you to add to the list if you haven't already watched it. Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yes, I read the manga. I'm that dude. I'm that snob. I read it before it was popular. Oh, bro, how beautiful is Jujutsu Kaisen, man?
Oh man, it's amazing, man. It's really, really good. I'm picking up the manga because I watched the series and I just couldn't get enough of it, so I went back. It's just beautiful, man. When you think of like these well done character designs, like these creature designs, and then just the storylines. Just
you need to read. Okay. So the studio that did Jujutsu Kaisen are doing Chainsaw Man. You have to read Chainsaw Man.
Chainsaw Man.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm writing it down.
Bro, actually, you can watch the trailer of Chainsaw Man from Studio Muppet. It's flipping beautiful, but bro, Chainsaw Man, no, you will love Chainsaw Man. I know for a fact you will flipping love Chainsaw Man. I know it's a bit of a,
Thank you.
I know it's a bit of a big claim, but
no, we're locking it in.
For Chainsaw Man. Okay, let's talk about Chainsaw Man because now I have an excuse to read Chainsaw Man again.
Okay, yeah, cool. So we're going to talk about it in next week. In next week's.
Yep, awesome. We'll talk about Chainsaw Man.
Thank you very much for that because last 3 weeks have been very stressful for me finishing off one of my papers for MBA. So I'm glad I can be able to do a little bit of it.
Okay. Also, one warning. So if you when you pick up Jujutsu Kaisen in the manga from where it left off, it's called the Shibuya arc. All I'm just gonna say is brace yourself, bro.
Oh, I love you. I can't wait.
No, just brace yourself. Brace yourself because
I'm ready, man.
Yeah.
I'm born ready. Don't worry about it. I'm ready. Can't stop me.
You sure?
I'm prepared. I was born prepared. I don't know what happened. I think when I started in about 2006 or 7, maybe it was 5. I ended up watching Hunter x Hunter, right? And then I'm curious, but I feel like I got to the end of Hunter x Hunter, and it was only like 80 episodes. But so correct me if I'm wrong. But then going back to watching it again, it goes up to like 380 episodes, and it concludes with them on the mountain, right? So
on the tree. So they're basically they're on the world tree, and then they find out that world tree is actually a sapling, and so because Gang is it Zing or Gang is put into context that the dark continent is completely hell. Is basically bonkers. You know, the chimera ants that they literally just scrape by beating are little ants in this continent. So it's I kind of feel in a way too like the mangaka is kind of I feel like he might have written himself into a corner because now it's like, how do you go from the flipping chimera ant arc? Like,
that's an intense arc, man.
You already had some pretty horrific shit there. Like, how do you go beyond that? Right?
Yeah. It just gets, it looks like it could potentially go super dark.
Well, even if it does, like, it kind of loses its impact after a bit because I'm just like, bro, how can you get more dark than that? Like,
yeah. And then the question remains as well: should you get that? Should you go darker for the sake of, there's something to be said for ending a story really well somewhere.
Yeah.
And so,
I think this is one of the beautiful things about Berserk because Berserk got to a point of peak darkness. There's a point of peak darkness, but I think the genius of Berserk is that I think the mangaka kind of became a lot more introspective about what Guts' motivations were, because at some point that path of vengeance is purely unsustainable. Because you get to a point there's the part when Guts realizes that shit, I've been doing this for 2-3 years, but Casca's been stuck in a hole, and I've just been so focused on getting, of getting some kind of closure that I've completely forgotten about this person who I'm meant to love and care for. And so then he starts this whole shift and turnaround, which I think is probably one of the most beautiful things about Berserk. I mean, you still have the elements of violence, but his motivations for doing his violence completely shift. Like when it comes to him trying to help Casca, and I think in him trying to help heal Casca, he's kind of finding healing himself because he starts accumulating a little family, similar to the kind of family and the connections that he had with the Band of the Hawk. And so And so it really is this fascinating thing because I think for me one of the most powerful moments in that is when he first sees Griffith, when Griffith takes form after he hasn't seen him. When Gut sees him, he forgets. He for a moment he forgets his hate because he still loves Griffith. Like Griffith is still a dude, is still someone that he loves.
Yeah.
You know. And so yeah, so I was like, oh my gosh, it was actually really freaking profound. Like I'm just thinking, this guy Kento Miura, like so many people focus on the violence, and yeah, the violence is an aspect of it, but I don't think it's edgy for the sake of edginess, you know.
Yeah, I think the mature elements serve a purpose for a certain demographic. So they look at it and they're like, oh, cool, this is the fish and chips I was looking for. But the beauty of that, as well as like many other really great either series or movies, is that, yeah, it tends to be a bit of a smorgasbord for everyone. And you can almost watch it again. And then, like you said, in the first round, you took the burgers. Second round, you took the fries. Third round, you take the fish or the beef or the stew or whatnot. And there's just like little parts of it that you can pick up every time you go to watch.
I don't know, man. Like, yeah, like the Berserk, for me, the Berserk manga, bro. Oh, jeez. Freaking beautiful. Like, I read his final, Kento Miura's final chapter. Literally brought tears to my eyes. Brought tears to my eyes, man. Have you read the Berserk manga?
I've never checked out any of the manga. I only saw the first. Wasn't it 3-part as well? The anime.
Yeah. So they had those movies. So that's basically how I got into the movies because I watched the movies and I was thinking, oh no, this is heavy. But then it wasn't until I actually read the manga that everything, like, yeah, just forget about the movies. It's all in the manga, man. The manga literally
it always tends to be like that,
it's really amazing like that. Like I again, just that kind of storytelling and I think it kind of gives you time to really kind of connect with these types of characters because at the start, like, Guts is pretty horrible. He's horrible.
Yeah.
But over time, you understand why he is the way that he is, and you kind of go on this journey, and it's pretty incredible, bro. I don't want to kind of spoil anything, but yeah, highly recommend the manga if you get a chance. Manga? But yeah, Chainsaw Man.
Oh, look, I'm going to go after Chainsaw first. That's my one. There's just so many great ones, and you think of the ones that finished as well, and you think, oh, maybe one more episode, one more series. Do you think Claymore could have gotten better had it continued than the way it ended, or do you think it?
Yeah, I think Claymore definitely could have. Again, I think maybe Claymore kind of got to a point where they didn't know where to kind of end it.
Yeah,
and I think, in all fairness, like that, I think that's probably a lot more common than what we actually think. Where things get where things finish. Or where things don't finish soon enough. I think Claymore could have been great. Like I started on the Claymore manga, but I kind of got to a point where I was like, man, this kind of feels like it's being rehashed.
Okay.
A little bit, or it kind of feels like they're kind of dragging it out a little bit.
Oh, so there was some procedural elements there?
Probably. But it's been a while since I've read Claymore. But I think Chainsaw Man finds a really good balance. Like I think they managed to do an incredible job within 100 chapters. It's only 100 chapters long, or at least.
I'll give it a look, and then we can definitely have a kick. Like we can kick it talking about that in the next episode. Man, this has been a blast. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, even though your video is frozen, it's been wonderful.
Yeah. So mine's still working on my end. It looks like I can see.
Oh, is it? Okay. So I'm frozen on your end?
Yeah, you're frozen on my end. So I think that's a good kind of cue for us to say bon voyage, and we go and do our homework. We can be awesome with our marathon goals and our triple goals and our Chainsaw Man goals, and then we'll catch up next week.
Right, I am so down.
Sweet, brother. Hey, look, thanks a lot for this. It was mean.
Not a problem, man. Let me know when you post everything up.
Will do. We'll talk to you soon, brother.
Good job, brother.